Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of BTOP Live. My name is Josh Nichols, and I am your host of BTOP Live. And I am excited today to bring to you guys another really awesome guest, somebody that I met just basically through this group, and that's what this is all about. Is us guys connecting with each other, letting each other know that we're out there and we're ready to play some ball, and we're also here to support each other. So. This is a labor of love. A lot of the things that we do like this. I was just on a podcast here recently. Some guys in Seattle, and it was same thing for them. I mean it's out of the kindness of their heart that they are putting this type of thing out there, and it's just something we'd love to do. So glad to be doing this, be with you guys. Uh, I have with me today Jeremiah Batla, and really excited to have him on. And he's going to talk about pitching at 40. And we're gonna attempt to do something a little different tonight. Show a couple video clips and some pictures and things like that, and let him as kind of some talking points for him. And so, anyways, he's coming to us from North Carolina. And just real quickly before I bring him on, I'm going to ask you guys to go check out the just our BTOP page and make sure you like that. I look at nearly 500 people in this group, and there's actually a BTOP page that's out there too. So it'd be cool if you guys like that, and make your way over to YouTube as well, and like a baseball training for older people YouTube channel. And if you're watching this broadcast on YouTube, the fun happens in the BTOP Legends group on Facebook. So make sure you click your link in the description I put in the video and make your way over to the BTOP Legends group in Facebook, and that's where we have all the fun. And you can join us live for these types of videos. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to attempt here to bring on our guest.
There it is.
There we are, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was looking for it. It was there, and then I just got it. So
It's all right.
sorry for the delay.
Common problem we've been having lately.
I
So
it worked differently this time. We just did it. I don't know.
yeah, Facebook needs to figure that out.
Yeah.
Make it a little more user friendly. But anyways, we already got people watching. Eddie Lamar. I don't know if you ever met him yet.
No, I haven't.
He's been on the show. He's also a pitcher. I want to say 62, 63, maybe 64 years old. And he's
Wow,
still going at it pretty hard. So
that's awesome.
yeah, he's a really good resource to have. I think he pitched, did through BP for like the Yankees and Mets, back in the day. So really good resource. So make sure you connect with some of the people that are watching that you might not know, and the whole one of the good things about doing something like this is just networking, building
Hmm.
resources. Us all meet each other. But anyways, I appreciate you being on BTOP Live.
Hmm.
We just recently met through the BTOP Legends group, and after just chatting with you a little bit, I was just like, man, you need to be on the show. So I appreciate you taking some time to do this.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. So to start with, just tell the audience. The way I like to start is just kind of getting a brief history of how you ended up in amateur baseball.
Absolutely. And let me just clarify, pitching at 40 doesn't sound as great as pitching at 64. So maybe, Ed might have to jump in and, share some knowledge to me, because that's 24 more years of pitching, potential.
Well, the difference though is that for a lot of people watching this, talking to Eddie is about projecting into the future at 64. A lot of people are where you are. So it's extremely irrelevant to have you
Hmm.
on, because you can speak to people where they are now, and Eddie can speak to people where they want to be, in
Right,
20 years, right?
right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, I'll start off by just saying I'm from Texas, and I played college ball at St. Edward University, and in Austin, Texas, if you're familiar, is Division II. And I had surgery when I was a junior, and that kind of like ended my chance at any kind of professional chance. You know what I mean? Like I was hitting 90 as lefty. I had scouts calling. Then I had the labrum surgery, and I don't think I threw harder than 82 the next year. And
Hmm.
so I ended up being a decent college pitcher, you know, Division two. I was all conference senior year, but the pro career was clearly gone. But thank God I had a scholarship, and that was very helpful. So, and after coming back from labrum surgery, the fastball wasn't just gone. My mechanics were really rough for a while. My senior year, I figured it out. But then I moved to Boston because my aunt at the time kind of took me in because after the scholarships were over, my family didn't have a lot of money. And I ended up in Boston and I started in the Boston Amateur League because I just didn't know anybody. And I just
Hmm.
Googled baseball. And there was no Google, by the way.
Right.
You know, like literally, you
Yeah.
know, you had to like, it wasn't the same thing. And ended up finding this article and ended up in the Boston League. And
Hmm.
that kind of just started it. And the pressure of not having a scholarship went away. And all of a
Right.
sudden, I started pitching because I just loved it and not because it was a paycheck to school, which was a very big
Yeah.
challenge for me in college.
Yeah.
And my arm came back. And I spent about 10 years playing amateur. I was throwing high 80s. I won over 200 games in that 10-year stretch. You know, I was 20 games a year, you
Hmm.
know, and then around 33, it just fell off a cliff. I went from throwing
Right.
high 80s to high 70s at best. I was overweight and I was drinking a little too much, you know, at a
Yeah.
corporate finance job and everything. So I
Yeah.
actually quit, retired. It was like a fall from grace. One year I was 88. Next year I was just nothing really. I just kept pitching,
Hmm.
but wasn't any good. So I hung it up. And then my wife and I quit our jobs, left corporate America and decided to become farming. And after about a year or two of traveling, I was able to get
Hmm.
back some of my physical health. I also quit drinking, which was a contributor
Hmm.
quite a
Yeah.
bit to my success coming back. I dropped the
Good.
belly weight, and my buddy came in and said, "Hey, you want to pitch? You know, you want to play?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't know if I can anymore." And but I did, and it was rough the first few months, and then I started to see it. Okay, I could do this. My arm didn't hurt as much, you
Hmm.
know, but I was still worried about it. And now I'm 2 years into a comeback, and I feel stronger than ever, to be completely honest. I can't throw hard, but my movement's probably even better.
Yeah.
And so I've had like a couple of resurgences in my career, you know, after the first
Yeah.
surgery, and then kind of when life got in the way
Hmm.
is it sounds like an excuse. It was a lot of
Hmm.
choices, but
Hmm.
yeah, that's where I ended up today. And now I mean, my goal is to win 300. I'm going to Vegas in 2 weeks for the 25 and up. I'm competing in 25 and up tournaments. Um,
Hmm.
I'm a
Who are you
back
playing
end,
with?
the Lake Hefner Pelicans.
Oh, you
You
gonna
know,
play with him?
yeah, you know John Lee Toentai, the guy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
yeah, he's I
Yeah.
play for his team in these tournaments.
Right.
Um,
So it's not the Biscuits though. You're not playing with the Biscuits.
I'm playing with the Biscuits in Vegas,
Okay.
and
Okay.
some of
That's
the
what I was wondering.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So my
And I would
buddies.
say I'm a biscuit too. I'm just kind of a, you know, these tournaments are so fun,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Silk.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, I just met him online because I'm going to see him in Vegas in a couple of weeks. I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
him, but I'm about to play with him.
He's on our regular team
Oh,
and yeah we actually just had a practice this weekend together. And so
right
yeah,
on.
he's a
Yeah,
cool dude, good dude.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
one thing that's interesting, is what you said about college ball. Just kind of a side note. That was one of the big culture shocks for me too. When I played a year, and one of the contributing factors to quitting after a year was it almost made me not like the game anymore.
Hmm.
People were there to keep scholarships, not for the love of the game. There were several players that didn't want to play anymore, felt like they had to because of scholarships. And and I think and Johnny, Johnny Bench, right? He's from Oklahoma. Johnny Bench that played for the Reds, right? Big Red Machine.
Hmm.
And he you were talking about like I think he was World Series MVP a couple times, gold, 5, 6, 7 Gold Glove Award winner, and I want to say he's quoted as saying that his greatest moment in baseball was winning the state championship in high school,
Hmm.
and I just kind of lived off that, just like that's because it really is. how I felt about college ball. It's just like
Yeah.
the fun was kind of sucked out of it. Then we come back and same thing here. As a hitter, like I feel like I see the ball better than I ever have, and it's because that pressure is lifted, and I'm
Hmm.
just out here, with a bunch of guys having fun, and so that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many nuances there. Like my senior year, not being able to call my own pitches and getting yelled at if I ever shook it off. You go to
yeah,
amateur ball and it's like you and the catcher. It's your game. You don't have this
that's
guy
right.
breathing down your neck. Why'd you miss that
Yeah,
inside fastball? Well, because I would have shook it off. I'm
yeah,
throwing a curveball. So there's all different nuances
yeah,
that changed.
yeah.
It was tough for me too. In my senior year, being named captain of a team for a coach that was just very angry, just very,
Mhm.
very angry, and kicked half the team off day one. Kind of guy, and just made it unfun. And I think the problem I have with, and I don't want to say coaches because there's a lot of good coaches and a lot of good folks on this call that have been coaches and so on.
Mhm.
But I noticed a trend with college coaches is that they think being an asshole, sorry, my French, is
Yeah,
the
that's
is
right.
a way to motivate people. And
Yeah,
what always drove me crazy is that each one thought it was an original idea.
yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, this is. I remember my sophomore year at San Diego, the coach coming out and yelling at me in the first game for walking the leadoff hitter. Well, then I
Mhm.
K'd the next three. So he just, okay, well, that's how you motivate Jeremiah, you know,
Right.
so you just yell at him, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Not all players respond. I mean, I was a player did not respond well to that. Like,
no.
and some my brother was. He was one that you jump on him hard and he'll play harder for you.
Hmm.
You jump on me hard like that, it has a different effect. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and so it's just I think it's really coaches that take time to understand how what motivates each one of their players is really. I mean, they're ones you got to hold on to.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
so
Yep.
man,
Uh,
we are here to talk about pitching at 40
yep.
years old, right?
Yep.
And so we had talked earlier. We're going to start with this video that you have. Do you want me to just start out just by playing it, or do you want to give
Yeah.
a kind of a
Um,
preface to it?
Yeah, sure. Just a small little highlight video at the beginning, and really, it's just to show you this last pitch, and I did it in slow motion because I wanted to show you where I was 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and then there's a picture of David Price that's next, and then where I
Hmm.
am today at 40.
Okay.
So that last picture. So if that
All right.
makes sense to
So
everybody.
when you're in this, before I show it to people, this first pitch where you're where the camera's kind of behind a screen.
Hmm. Hmm.
How old are you here?
That was 2011, so I was 29, 30. 29, 30.
Okay.
It was around my peak,
Yeah. And then
you
it's
know.
going to move into how old next after
Same
that?
age, just basically
Same
the
age?
same age.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just
Okay.
trying to illustrate something about the mechanics that I
Okay.
never was taught.
Okay. All right. So if you need me to pause it or something, just let me know. Okay. But people watching this, I'm going to have to. Facebook Live doesn't have the capabilities of me actually bringing a clip in. So I'm going to show you guys on my iPad. I'm going to have to turn this light off though to do this. You won't be able to hear it, but I don't think you really need to hear it to kind of get the gist. Okay. Feel free to narrate too if you want.
Yeah, I think it's actually flipped backwards. It actually makes me look like I'm throwing right-handed on my screen, but
Oh, sorry.
that's actually kind of cool. Here it is. Here comes up. So this is going to be in slow motion. So I used to be able to slide towards the plate right there. I lost that when I lost my flexibility and when I lost my fitness. And
Let me let's do
sliding
that
to
one
the
over.
plate, I had no idea how important it was as a pitcher.
Let's rewatch that one.
Yeah.
Did I get
Yep.
it on there?
Yeah, I think so. And if anyone wants to comment or say like, "Hey, repeat it," but then if you show the picture of David Price,
Mm-hmm.
um, I made it 40 years in baseball and just found out what sliding to the plate meant, what a rising elbow meant, right?
Okay.
And like what they call pooping on the catcher, where like if
Right.
you were, you're sliding and you're going sideways linearly towards the plate, you know, and
Hmm.
how important that is on not only velocity, but protection of your arm. And I made it 40 years without ever knowing this. But as a 40-year-old, if I want to stay in this game, like I have a different approach now, and it's not just what someone else tells me. I've got to go out and research and figure out, why am I struggling, and why am my mechanics messed up or what's going on? And me trying to come back in this comeback, trying to pitch like I was when I was 28 isn't possible,
Right.
right? I had to almost recreate my mechanics from the beginning
Okay.
with the knowledge of knowing that my arm can't do the same thing it does in that video.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't.
So let
I
me
used
get,
to be able to sling it, and that's just not possible anymore.
for some reason, it's not letting me pull up that picture. Hold on one second. I'm gonna change the settings real quickly on my
Hmm.
iPad so I can get that picture pulled up for you. Um, but yeah, I think even Eddie was talking about that too at 64. He said that he can't, if he's going to last for a lot of innings, he can't have these really big motions
Hmm.
and things like that because you got to think about, where you're at in life, you
Hmm.
know. Hold on one second. Let me get that pulled back up. Try this one more time. Because I do want people to see that. We just had it
Yeah.
pulled up too. That was the funny thing is, again, technology. It doesn't ever cooperate. Because we just tested all this out to make sure it all worked right, and of course, it's not even letting me pull up the picture. Um, I have no clue why either.
Well, if you want to work on it, I can keep kind of chatting about that, because it's like
Well,
no one ever told me. Go
can we
ahead.
show yours?
Yeah, show mine. Show mine.
Okay,
I'll
so
go to that.
I got this one to pull up. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
people look at
So
it.
you see where my elbow is?
Yeah.
So that was how I became when I came back to pitch again over the last 2 years. I found that with my arm and my injury and trying to pitch with injuries and trying to pitch with out of shape, I ended up with this arm angle where my elbow is just not even going above. Now, understand, this is with the Pelicans in January. I threw a complete game shutout in this game. I
Okay.
had a lot of control, only walked one guy, only 5 guys got
Hmm.
on base. But that is not sustainable for me to pitch to Edwards' age. It's not. And it happened
Right.
because of my previous surgeries. And it
Right.
also happened because I didn't know what that sliding was. So when I used to pitch, it used to feel like my back leg would bend, which
Hmm.
wasn't the truth. It wasn't my back leg bending because you're not supposed to. It was
Right.
your hip going out first while your leg pushes off the mound, right?
Right. Yeah.
And 40 years of baseball, okay? Plenty of good outings and plenty of coaches telling me what they think I could or couldn't do. No one ever explained that point to me. And
Right.
so I think there is a lot of gaps. So if you're going to pitch at 40 or 66, 67, you're going to have to discover not only who you are, but what is an actual basic of mechanic. If there's
Right.
something in your mechanics that
Yeah.
doesn't work, then you got to analyze it and fix it.
Right. So what
And
happens to you if you were to, you said that's not sustainable. So what would happen if you kept pitching like that?
well, the main thing it's not even necessarily like I'm not talking about arm health necessarily. And what
Hmm.
I mean sustainable, I'm looking for consistency. If I'm going to keep pitching like Ed does, or if I'm going to keep pitching in these leagues or get to 300, I'm not going to be my best every day, and my
Right.
arm at 40 isn't going to always be live.
Right.
Like when my arm angle was like that when I was younger, I got away with it because I threw 86, 88. Now I throw
Right.
78. I'm
Okay.
left-handed, but I throw 78. And so for me, I've got to be able to have a repeatable arm angle because everything else is older.
Right.
So it's almost like it can't have variations. I
Right.
spent 20 years as a trial and error pitcher.
Hmm.
Feel something. Oh, that's a strike. Try to repeat that feeling. That was the only coaching I ever get.
Right.
Try to
Yeah.
repeat that feeling. Well, I don't know because one day I feel one way and the next day I go out with that
That's
same
right.
feeling and I suck.
Right.
Right. And that's what I've had to learn at 40 is like to be prepared for the days my arm doesn't show up because that just happens.
Hmm.
And then, you're in 23. I threw 88 every day. I just,
Right.
not necessarily threw strikes,
Right.
but I threw hard. Now I can throw 82 or 71. I mean, I really
Right.
don't know exactly what arm is going to come out. But
Right.
since I've been able to get my body back in shape and I've studied the mechanics, I'm working on this consistency of having that
Hmm.
same throw every time.
Correct. So we got some comments on here real quickly. Let me see. We got uh, Zach Humphrey. You know him, right, from the
Yep.
Pelicans.
Yep.
Uh, he said something, circle punch out. He also said it was totally weird seeing Batla throw righty. Yeah, on that. Yeah. So everybody watching now that clip, he's left-handed, so this video doing it that way, showing the clip, it flips it around.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah. So let me show you this. I got this David Price thing pulled up.
yep.
Let you kind of explain what we're looking at here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see where we're, and he's right-handed. It looks weird. Uh,
Yeah.
You see, like I thought what he would be doing or what I would be doing was bending my back knee. He's not bending his back knee. He's actually slanting his arms, elbow up, arm down, right? And then he's going to
Okay.
act like someone's going to push his back hip towards the plate, right?
Okay.
And that is what creates the sensation of your back leg bending. It's not that it's bending. It's
Hmm.
separating from your body as you slide towards the catcher. Even in the highlight video that I sent, because I was younger and able to do it, I wasn't even doing that right. What I was doing is coming around that and slinging across.
Okay.
Well, that's all fine and good when your arm is top shape, but if you have days like I do, where it's just at this age, you're not as sharp. You need to be able to go
Hmm.
out there and repeat that mechanic. And so what I'd say
Yeah.
is like knowing exactly where your flaws are at this age, like if we're going to take the time from our families to play the game, the best we can do is to analyze ourselves, know ourselves, and make sure that we're
Hmm.
practicing a way of improvement.
Right.
And you can see this, and this is why, like when you go to a 35 plus tournament, the hitters are still legit. Maybe they don't
Hmm.
run as fast, but they're legit. The pitching
Right.
falls off.
Oh
The
yeah.
pitching takes a nosedive. I mean, you
Yeah.
still got your guys out there throwing 90 at 40. I get it.
Right.
But when you go to 25 plus, all of them do, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And 35 plus, it's like, okay, well, why does pitching fall off? Because, and I don't want to disrespect hitters. I consider myself a little bit of a hitter. Zach might laugh at that. I hit the slow pitchers really well. Um, but the mechanics of pitching are so complex and such hard
Hmm.
thing on your body. You only take 13 swings a game and
Right.
that's if you swing at every pitch
Right.
you see, right? But you're going to
Right.
throw 100 times, you know,
Yeah.
plus, and hell, it's
Yeah.
amateur ball. Try 200.
Right. That's something I
You,
try to talk to hitters about is that the psychology of the chess match that it is between a batter and a pitcher, is that it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to do what you're doing than it is to do what I'm doing up there, right? Because you're doing
right,
that all game, the whole game, throwing anywhere. Well, depends on how good or bad of a game you're throwing, but you're throwing anywhere probably between 60 and 100 pitches,
right.
and it definitely is a lot more pressure, I feel like, on the pitchers on that front.
Yeah, definitely. There's
Yeah.
no doubt. The hitters, the thing that's hard for them is a small sample size. Plus, I know what I'm throwing. They don't.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
I mean that, and the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
point of hitting is timing the
Yeah.
pitcher, and all
Unless you
we're
have a
trying to do at pitching is try to
yeah.
disrupt the timing, right?
Yeah.
You
Unless you have
know,
a
just
video camera and a trash can, and
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know that this is my farm shirt now, bro. I'm a Houston Astros diehard fan up until
dude.
this happened. So now all of my take it back and all my Astro stuff before the scandal is all
Yeah.
used as scarecrows on my
Right.
property. I'm not
You're
one of those Astros fan that forgives them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
in the realm that baseball is a game of trying to get an
Yeah.
edge. Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
computer edge is a bit different for me than like stealing signs at second,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
I
you
got it.
know,
Yeah. And I had gone to watch them play this summer, before they won the World Series. And I'd bought while I was down there, I bought an Astros little zip up jacket,
yeah.
and then of course after that, all the scandal came out, and the other day I was out somewhere and I was cold. I had that jacket in my truck and I put it on and I was like apologizing to everybody. I'm like, I'm just really cold.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, you know,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
for all you Astros fans out there that are fuming right now, I'm sorry. I don't harbor a lot of ill will toward him. I think he just needs some time. You know, the manager, what was his name? AJ
Hinch.
Hinch. Yeah, he's a man. He's a Okie man. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
he's right up here in Dell City,
Yeah.
and I really do think he had a lot of integrity for my own reason. I have my own personal reasons for that,
Well,
but
at least he
yeah,
smashed the TV. He's the only one that did anything.
yeah,
So, you
yeah,
know, and he did make comments. Did he go out and try to tell every single player what to do? Nah, he's a
yeah,
bit of a player's coach. And, you know, he probably
yeah,
thinks they're grown men. It's up to them. I don't know. Can't speak for him, but I do see that. I do have
right,
forgiveness, and I have forgiveness for all of them. That's, you know, being a
right,
sober person, the first thing I have to do is be good at forgiveness, you
right,
know?
right, right.
Yeah, even myself. Like,
Yeah,
that's the funny thing about the mental side of baseball last week and then our conversation today is that my wife even said it. She's like, "You're getting a little head cased about your mechanics right now." She's like, "You're kind of like stressed about it." And I go, "Okay, play with me here. I'm going to be a head case about something in life. I
right,
really am. I'm going to have to get it out somewhere. And if it's in baseball and it doesn't affect, and in my farm and business life that we're starting, doesn't have that head casing going on, I call it a net
right.
positive. You know, I
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
be a
heck yeah,
kid. I'm actually trying to be a better pitcher now. I'm trying to
yeah,
prove to teams I can still pitch, and it actually makes me feel younger.
right,
And but I'm more prepared for the ego of it.
right.
I could quit
Yeah,
tomorrow if it wasn't causing me happiness.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I feel the
Yeah,
same way.
yeah.
And let me for the viewers out there, you guys, if you guys have any questions um for Jeremiah, just start typing those in. I do want to read a couple more comments, see if you can respond to these. Not they're not necessarily questions, but it'll give us some talking points here. But Eddie Lamar did make a comment. Said to be able to pitch successfully over a long time, you need to be able to make adjustments, not only to your mechanics, but also pitches and
Mm-hmm.
the type of pitcher you are.
Mm-hmm.
You reinvent yourself a few times, especially as an amateur, because we don't stay in the same shape as somebody who does it for a living.
Yep. It's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. I totally agree. I mean, now my changeup is my most important pitch.
Right. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I got a little.
oh, the hearing yourself talk thing, that's great.
Well, I actually I have this going on my iPad as well, so I can read the comments better because the comments are coming across my screen and I can't see them very well because
Yeah,
they're like kind of fading out a little bit, and so
yeah.
I accidentally just clicked the video.
No, no
Sorry you
worries.
heard that. Um, but yeah, anybody else, you guys, if you have any comments or questions or anything like that you want Jeremiah to address, feel free to put those in there right now. Zach Humphrey did say the ump had a circle style punch out on the K. Do you know what he's referring to there?
A circle style cut punch out on the K. I don't know actually what's that exact. Could you clarify that? Is that from the picture is he talking about?
I know he just made another comment, said he said he's got kid duty, so he's got to head out. But
Yeah.
maybe what I ask people to do, is that he said in the video, he just commented in the
Oh
video.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That was Zach and I caught, Zach's been a kind of an influential catcher on me. I'm sorry if he's
Hmm.
leaving, didn't get to hear that. Because on my comeback, like 2 years ago, I got invited because of I hate to say this word, but like because of my legacy. That guy, the shortstop in that video was
Hmm.
the one who said, "Hey, I'm headed to Myrtle. I heard you're in Marshall. Do you want to
Hmm.
pitch?" I'd only thrown 3 games since a 5-year layoff, and I said yes. I don't know why, I did.
Hmm.
And I went to a 25 and up with a team that's pretty stacked. And
Hmm.
I went out in game 5 and I pitched 9 innings. And I did it
Hmm.
like almost like if you've ever played golf. When you stop playing for a while, you go back, you actually hit the ball well because you
Right.
haven't let yourself like. But
Yeah.
that gave me the juice to come back the next year. And Zach, as a catcher, knew I couldn't throw my slider. I just got that back this year. Was my slider. That was the first thing that went. So when I pitched
Hmm.
to him that day, we only threw fastball in and out and changeup, and like my curveball was just even an afterthought. And we
Right.
got through the game and pitched pretty well. And then
Cool.
this past year with them, I threw a complete game shutout because it was just I was able to throw the slider again.
Hmm.
And that really, really that was because of all the work I've done to get my arm back
Hmm.
in shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that he hung around a little bit to hear you say that. Actually,
Yeah.
I was chatting with Silk a little bit. Sounds like that he's a really good dude. Like he's well liked, and
Yeah.
it's really probably really good the Pelicans have him. We actually play the Pelicans our very first game next week. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
so and I haven't met Zach or John Lee Tontai. I
Hmm.
haven't met either one of them in person before, so I'm gonna try. So it'll be cool to kind of get to
Yeah.
chat with them a little bit, get to experience what everybody's talking about on
Yeah. Tolentai is a special person as well. A very good
yeah,
dude and a good
yeah,
baseball player. And he's also probably got a lot of input on playing at the age that he's playing at because he is a very successful hitter. But,
hmm,
as we get older, the positions you play and you're going up against 18-year-olds or 25-year-olds at short,
right,
and second and everything.
yeah,
But he's been able to do it and still compete and still not only be a good player, but a great player, plus 40
yeah.
plus, and he has like 5 or 6 kids, and he still
And he's a
figures that out. And
farmer.
that's part of the other thing that I don't want to go into much because I'm sure all the guys that on amateur baseball get
Hmm,
it. You got to please your homestead first
hmm,
before you can ever decide to have an amateur career, because you got to have
hmm,
support at the homestead, which means you got to do the equity work so that your
yeah,
spouse will say, yeah, go to that tournament,
right, yeah,
you know?
exactly,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah. I did. Um, and yeah, man, if I could convince you to go to Australia with me, it'd be awesome.
who knows, man? Never know. You never know. The
um,
farm's a bit going crazy right now. We
yeah.
had some good stuff happen this year, and we're kind of taking off a little.
What kind of farm do you run?
Well, the best way to describe it is we're more of a value-added sauce company that farms its own ingredients. So, like
Oh,
when
okay.
a lot of folks will call a farm, they think acreage.
Shoot.
We have 6.5 acres, but really our
Yeah,
business is run on tenth of an acre.
yeah.
And my wife's Cuban and Puerto Rican, so we focus on her family's recipes for Latin spices and sauces, and then we grow everything and put it together and sell those.
Do you have a website then? I mean,
Yeah,
promote it
yeah,
here. I mean,
no,
it was about supporting each
good.
other. So,
TheAppalachianFarmstead.com, and
yeah.
I can even write that in, but it stands for Appalachian grown, Latin inspired. So
Let me,
Appalachian, play on
let,
words.
I have the ability to type it in the comments here.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
second here. Tell me the website. So, www dot
The Appalachian, so that's Appalatin, farmstead.com.
farmstead.com.
And
Support the
we
farmers. That's what I'm writing.
Thank you, man. And the value-added producers. The key is like, I don't know if y'all talk about agriculture much on this show, but the whole thing about organic eating is that you
Hmm.
stay on the outside of the grocery store,
Yeah,
outside aisles, right? The inside aisles is where all the bad stuff is. But
yeah.
the reason why folks go to the inside aisles is because they don't have time to be chef all the
Okay,
time.
right,
Some
right,
do, but most of the
right.
time you go to the middle section because you need a frozen pizza for the time little Jimmy's Little League practice runs till 2.
Right,
So
right.
our goal with our company is to take the outside of the aisle and get it into the inside of the aisle so
Hmm.
that those processed type foods that they can have flavor and are organic and fresh.
Hmm. Right. Yeah,
So I
that's
mean, just
cool.
I don't know if most people know, but fruit, specifically vegetables, gain their nutrition and taste in the last 48 hours before they ripen and fall off the tree or
Yeah.
the plant. So if you buy
Well,
something that's a week old,
yeah,
you're not buying a fresh or healthy vegetable
right. Well,
necessarily, even if it's grown organically.
the word on the street is that the Appalachian, however you said that, farmstead is really good for pitchers' arms. So if you're a pitcher,
Yeah,
you probably need to go to that website and start ordering some stuff.
yep.
I do have
But
one. Oh, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no, I was going to say, and go with your question, but I was going to say that farming saved my pitching career. That was kind of like the whole point of this because
Yeah.
I was not a weight room guy. In fact, the weight room was a terrifying place for me. It's actually where I hurt my shoulder,
Yeah.
by a coach yelling at me because I threw 90, but I was a skinny little
Hmm.
prick. And he kept saying, "Why aren't you bench pressing?" I'm like, because I don't think it's benefiting me. I think throwing 100-yard long toss is
Hmm.
benefiting me. I think swimming and running. And
Right.
he yelled at me, and I got on the bench press and threw plates on there, and I went like this and pop.
Right.
So I only have
Uh,
myself to blame for that moment,
hmm.
for doing that. But so the weight room was never my friend. And So being in shape, I found an outlet. So if you're going to pitch at this age, you have to have a physical outlet to stay in shape. I fortunately
Right.
get to farm, which is a lot of fun to me,
Right.
digging, shoveling, and I
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
treat it as a workout.
Yeah.
So everything's
Yeah.
reps.
Yeah. I
So
grew up on a
anyway,
farm, so
yeah, man, you know,
I
you
grew up
know,
cattle and wheat, and but I will not be disappointed if I never have to toss another hay bale again in my life.
understand.
So yeah. Hey, let's go back. I want to show you this clip right here. Okay, this is your clip again.
Hmm.
All right, this one right here.
Yep.
See this pit? All right, that pitch right there. Oh, not
Yeah.
that one. Hold on, let me go back. Uh, that first one there. Right. Boom. That one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have hit that a mile, dude.
You a lefty or a righty?
I'm a righty.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with you, dude.
No, no.
Yeah.
It does look really weird as a right-hander right there. That's like
Yeah.
crazy to me because that ball should have gone the other direction.
Yeah. It looked. Did that ball did it tail?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I was gonna say the camera is a little bit to the side, so I couldn't tell if it was just a bad camera angle or if it actually was tailing a little bit. So no, it's a good
Well,
pitch. It's a real good
and
pitch.
actually, and Ed probably, Edward could probably talk about this too, is I've always had good movement, but when I started to get older, controlling that movement became a real problem.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like if you don't lose the movement, it almost goes further out. Like the less
Oh,
I would get over top, I mean, I had to move to the other side of the mound so
okay.
that I could get the ball to not fly out
Yeah.
of the zone.
Right.
And it was because I had lost that ability to slide to home plate,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
Eddie Lamar did say he said good point about having a physical outlet. He said, "Do you throw on the farm in between starts?"
Yes, yes, I do now. I do now. I have a pitching screen, and all I'm working on there is just simply just repeating the same throw over and over again from the same distance. That's it.
Yeah, that's great.
And and this process this year, like I had a really good year last year, and in this
Hmm.
beginning of this year with one of the teams I'm playing with, I'm struggling. Like I am.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
absolutely struggling. It's weird. I'll strike a guy out, but he looks like an idiot, and then I'll hit a guy in the knee with a changeup, and I swear I did the same thing I did the pitch before.
Right.
And
Right.
then it's
Yeah.
just I don't know what. Like when I was even struggling to control myself when I threw well,
Hmm.
I'd miss, but I wouldn't miss like hitting kids in the feet or like throwing it to the
Right.
backstop. I would miss wide or down or whatever.
Right.
And now I'm like trying to recreate my mechanics at 40, and I've had some games where I'm just like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I
Yeah.
think it'll be
That's the way it
better
is.
for me in the long run.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
it's amazing, really, that what pitchers can really do and put in that. I don't know if you've ever watched John Boy on YouTube, but he'll do those overlays of like two different pitches. I mean, it'd be two separate pitches, uh, and he'll do an overlay like where it's like they're both fastballs, but on two separate occasions, and it's just like the same spot. Or he'll do one where he shows like a fastball and a breaking ball and how the ball's going in the same spot, and then the breaking ball, of course, will break. And
Right.
it's just I'm like the fact that pitchers can put that ball is almost exactly where they want it at certain times, and with some slight variation, is really impressive because the the controlling your body enough to create the same motion is hard enough. You don't have control over the elements though. Like the
Right.
wind could be blowing differently that day. You could be fatigued. It could be hotter than normal. The ball could just not be a good ball or not be prepped very. I know in the major leagues they prep those balls. They might not have prepped them very well, or you got a different catcher that day, and it's just all these different variables that you have to deal with, and yet the fact that you could throw pitches in the strike zone consistently, it blows my mind. Like it truly is a testament to the power of the brain, in the human body. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and hitting too. I mean, geez, I mean, these guys are hitting 103-mile-an-hour fastballs and pulling them. I just don't even understand that. So that amazes me, and it
yeah.
amazes me that the guys that I'm facing, even when I have a bad outing, can hit me. I'm like, how'd
Hmm.
you hit that? How'd you know that that low and outside changeup was coming right
Hmm.
after a slider inside that I effectively threw, and you still hit it? And
Right.
this is an amateur. This guy's like
Right.
38.
Yeah.
And
We get
yeah.
Jason Wheeler is someone who's viewing right now too. Appreciate you joining, Jason. He said, I may have missed it if you've already talked about it, but how has your mental approach to a hitter or an inning changed now that you're a little older? The
That's
mental
a
approach to hitters in innings, different innings.
Yeah, no, I like
That's good.
that question a lot. And I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, that's not even as I get older, that's a great question that I think Greg Maddox might be able to answer, but I don't know who else would be able to answer it
Yeah.
effectively. I say that the what I've learned how to do is to do two things, and that's remove my ego from inning to inning. You know, one of the things I would always struggle with when I was a kid, and even as a college pitcher when I had a lot of potential, was that I either throw a complete game shutout or get out in
Hmm.
two-thirds of an inning. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because I couldn't stop
Hmm.
the bad inning, the umpire bad
Right.
call, the error, the walk. That was should have been a
Hmm.
strike, and things would spiral out of control for me. You know.
Right. Yeah.
So nowadays it's so simple as I'm going to attack the zone every time I can, and if
Right.
they hit 6 home runs, then that's how I lose today. But I'm
Right.
not going to lose by walking and trying to do too much, and I'm still
Hmm.
doing it. I'm practicing it.
Yeah.
And even right now, today was a bit of a struggle
Hmm.
for me on the mound, but
Yeah.
the ego is gone about it.
Right.
Each inning is wiped away, and it's a fresh
Yeah.
chance. Like you don't have to throw shutouts. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
I
Right.
definitely am. I'm trying to get innings for my team, and I'm trying to keep them in the game. And if that means giving up 5 or 6 earned runs over 9, that's a whole lot better than striking out 20 one game
Hmm.
and not making it out of the first to second.
Right. So, do you care if I speak to that? Because I'm also
Mm-hmm.
the mental part of the game is the part that I'm the most fascinated by. I'm a mental health professional by trade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Jason, I want to address that question too. And a follow-up question he has too. So don't let me forget this. Is do you think about your pitch count more now? Um, but the to go back to the original question. I think that obviously the mental game is important, and it should, in my opinion, should be growing and evolving over time. So not that well, I'm older now, so I have to because I'm older, I have to take a mental approach. I would say that because I'm older, as I have evolved as a player, my mental approach has evolved,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that as players we really need to be intentional with that. The more we can understand how we get into that mental space, the better. So we always talk about baseball players being superstitious, for example, right? Well, it's really not superstition. It's that baseball players are able to do what we do because of repetition.
Mm-hmm.
You create repetition. When you do that over and over again, you're creating neural circuitry in your brain. You're creating neural pathways for this game, right? And so the reason why we like to do things the same way, like, strap the left batting glove first before you strap the right, or, click your heels twice and, blow a kiss to God or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's not because of superstition. It's to access the neural pathway that we've created to get into the mental space you need to be in to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And pitchers are going to have it's unique to everybody. Nobody has the exact way to do that, but I do think a really important piece, and I, my buddy Cody just helped me with this with my fielding, because I get in defensive slumps more than I get in offensive slumps.
Mm-hmm.
I get inside my head that I don't belong out there, and my buddy Cody's on my team reminded me recently, like, you need to get out of that. And it just hit me. He's like, Josh, why don't you do at the plate what you do in the field? I mean, why don't you do at the field what you do at the plate? And I was like, why don't I do that? I was like, and so I started doing that. And then we went out and had this practice this weekend. And I felt like a whole different person,
Mm-hmm.
because I reminded myself in this unique way that I have, that I talked about last week. I reminded myself that I belonged there. I deserve to be out there as much as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And your body just kind of changes with, like, I mean, the way you play the game, changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that it can be dangerous to not remember your 40. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But at the same time, we do play this game, I think, because it helps us access our youth,
Mm-hmm.
you know, And so it makes us feel younger, and that's good. But we do need to remember our age, but not as a dig on ourselves, or not to make ourselves feel bad. Oh, I'm 40 or whatever. Just more so out of just listening to your body. Make sure you're listening to your body, so you don't
Yeah,
hurt
you
yourself.
gotta know yourself. You mentioned meditation, and the idea that like
Yeah,
I didn't understand meditation. I used to think I had to clear my mind. For this mind is good
can't clear
luck.
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you put me in a mountain by myself and all I gotta do is make rice every day and chat and think about it for what possibly.
right.
But for now, all I do is try to give myself a new thought.
That
So when
that's
that
yeah.
old one happens, I say, all right, today I start to feel, oh
Hmm.
my God, the wind's messing my two-seamer. Okay, but I know I've got a four-seamer now. So
Yeah,
let's just work on that four-seamer
yeah,
today. Two-seamer's gone. Forget about him.
yeah. I
Forget it.
I I wrote a blog just recently about this whole what I call selective memories. I don't like the idea of people saying that baseball players need to have short memories, because that way you don't get into slumps, or you you can't do that. Like, you can't just forget. Your brain is wired to remember the bad things that happen.
Yes.
Because from an evolutionary perspective, your brain needs to fire out all kinds of warning signs, and give you all kinds of signals when there's danger, right? So that's why you remember the bad things more often,
Hmm.
right? So it's impossible to have a short memory. So what I call it selective memory, is remembering a time when it went well,
Right.
and let yourself access. And that's my meditative process. It's not clearing my mind, it's accessing the memory that I want, where I succeeded at the plate. And then what I do while I'm sitting there on the bench is, like, if you're warming up in the inning, I'll sit on the bench and I'll start out by grabbing that memory, and then I'll put you in the memory, and I will picture myself hitting you now,
Right.
right? And I do believe that research does show the more you can envision yourself hitting the ball, the more likely you are to hit it.
Right.
I don't want to speak where I could be wrong on that, but I do. I definitely think that helps with me. But what I'm doing now is I took a memory from the past, and then created a memory in the future.
Hmm.
What I hope to be a memory in the future, right?
Right. Right.
And I had to do that on the field this weekend too. Is I was like, crap. There was a time that I remember feeling super confident out there on the field. It's like, what happened, right? And
Right.
had to get into that mindset. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
A great.
I don't want to ramble on, dude. I could talk,
No. No, no. Well, part of
go
the
on
reason I even
monologues. So,
wanted to be on the call with you is when I found out you're a clinical you're a mental health practitioner, because
mhm.
this is mental health. Baseball is mental health.
No
Baseball is a
doubt.
church to some folks. Baseball literally,
Hmm.
I think, saved not only my life because I stayed in college baseball instead of making other bad choices. And
Hmm.
actually, when I had mentioned the threat of losing the scholarship, you can look at things in multiple different ways. I was just expressing the fear. I never said if it was good or bad. That fear kept me in school and I got a degree. And so everything from baseball has been a positive, and I
Yeah,
wanted to keep it that
it's
way.
wonderful, man.
And that's how I want to do it now. And I mean, and if you're going to do it, I feel like you got to commit to it, and I feel like I'm more committed to baseball
Hmm.
than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Uh, and if you count all the farming I'm doing, that would be a 5-hour workout on a baseball team. And as a pitcher
Hmm.
in college, all we did was run for an hour, lift weights, and then shag balls for 4 hours. So pitching
Right.
doesn't need 5 hours of work.
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know,
Well,
so that's a
dude,
big one.
I could talk to you forever about this stuff,
Yeah,
but
man.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and let you go. But man, I really appreciate you doing this. I hope that we get a chance to meet someday, in person, maybe play together. That'd be really
Hmm.
cool.
Yep.
But meanwhile, we'll just stay connected through this means, and I hope you get some is people ordering off your website, but also hope you just kind of able to network with some people. I think you had some really good insight, and I appreciate what you had to say. I would ask you though, would you mind going through the comments? I think there might have been some that we missed, and just
Yep.
kind of spend a little time dialoguing with some people there. Make
Yep.
sure we answered their questions the way that they're, or ways that they're looking for anyway, or not answering them the way they want them to be answered, but just making sure we're hearing them right, and that way I
Yeah.
didn't interpret them wrong when I repeated it.
Yeah.
Sound
I can do
good?
that. Sounds good. Thanks for the opportunity, and for those that joined.
Yeah, man. Hey, good luck in Vegas, man. And tell Toe and Tie and Humphrey and Silk I said hello. So,
I will do so.
all right, man. Take care.
All right, Ben. See you.
All right, bye. All right, guys. That was Jeremiah Batla. I meant to ask him if I was saying his last name correctly, but he didn't correct me, so that's what it is right now. So, anyways, what a great guest, man. That guy's energy is contagious, man. I could talk to him all day long. I hope that you guys took away something helpful from that. Appreciate you guys that commented on here. Eddie Lamar, Eddie, really think that you need to connect with Jeremiah. Obviously, he's very skilled at what he does, and but he's also very he's a student. It sounds like just like you of the game, especially pitching. And so shout out him. But Eddie, I appreciate you joining. Jason Wheeler, man, we forgot to answer the pitch count comment, but I appreciate you asking some questions. Of course, Zach Humphrey, appreciate you, buddy. We're gonna hopefully let's make sure that we meet up. I play Zach next week. He's right here from Oklahoma. And oddly enough, Jeremiah is actually playing with the kind of a team that was developed by the Pelicans team here in Oklahoma. He'll be playing with them in Vegas, so that's really cool. And let's see who else here. John Lee Tontai, appreciate you, buddy. Didn't even see that on there. But I do want to say, oh, shoot, David Lohman also commented, man. Thank you for checking us out, watching it. Um, Appreciate that. And let's see if we missed anybody here. I think that pretty much covered everybody that commented, anyways. But also, guys, so next week, I believe I have Kevin Lammerdine, I always forget how to say his last name, with the podcast that I mentioned, Hawk One Radio. So, anyways, can't wait to have him on. And then after that, his co-host, Albert Garcia. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. I should have looked it up before. Before. But anyways, we're going to talk about gloves and equipment and things like that. So, anyways, we got some good shows coming up. Appreciate you guys tuning in. See you later.